So today we will start from types of plan. First of all is single-use plan. An organization has to prepare a plan before making any decision related to business operation or undertaking any project. So plans could be of different types on the basis of the use and the length of the plan, means for how long we will be using it. And on the basis of that there could be plans. So plans can be classified into several types depending on the use and the length of the plan period. So certain plans have a short-term horizon, helps to achieve operational goal. That means it is talking about some plans that is helping us to do some operational task. There are two types of tasks. One is operational, another is managerial. So when we are talking about managerial task, that is something like there will be people at the management level, they will be dealing with these kinds of tasks. And there are some basic level like there are workers, supervisors, so they will be doing some regular activities, some routine activities, those will be called as operational tasks. Now there could be some plans that will help us to achieve the operational goals. So these plans can be classified into single-use plans and standing plans. So a single-use plan is developed from a one-time event or project. Like when the project will be done, so the plan will not exist. Now for a new project, again we will develop a new plan. So such a course of action is not likely to be repeated in future. We will not repeat the same thing. So we have to change or modify it. They are for non-recurring situations. The duration of this plan may depend upon the type of project. So it could be there could be a span of time that will be 1 week or for a month. So a project may sometimes be of only 1 day. For only 1 day, some project could be there, like some event will be some event we have to organize, or maybe we have to conduct a seminar or conference. So for a single day or 2-3 days, we can develop such kind of project plan. These plans include budgets, programs, and projects. So when we talk about budget, do we repeat the same budget for every financial year? It's not like that. Every time we prepare a new budget. So one time we are using it and then we are developing a new one. They consist of details, including the names of the employee, who are responsible for doing the work, contributing to the single use and contributing to the single use plan. So these details will be given in the plan. Like if you talk about any program, so for a program will consist of identifying steps, that what are the steps are there to complete the program, what could be the procedure required for opening a new department to deal with other minor work. So these kinds of uh, different plans could be there. Like one could be a program, and in case of program, we have to mention the different steps how we are going to deal with, and there could be some procedures uh, required for opening a new department to deal with their other minor work. So projects are similar to programs, but differ in scope and complexity, a little bit complex in nature. And a budget is a statement. So a program will be something where it will consist of some steps. And if we talk about procedures, so maybe a procedure of opening a new department to deal with other minor work, so such kind of procedures could be there. Or projects, maybe projects are more or less similar to procedures, sorry, programs, but little bit difficult, little bit complex in nature. A budget is a statement of expense, revenue, and income for a specific period that we know a little bit of idea we have about budget. Standing plan. A standing plan is used for activities that occur regularly over a period of time. Like if you talk about any rules and regulation, that is there for an educational institute, maybe an admission procedure, admission policy. So that will be called as standing plan. Different policies, procedures, methods, rules, all these things will come under standing plan. Now the policies are general forms of standing plans that specifies the organization's response to a certain situation, like the admission policy of an educational institute. Procedures will be like describe the steps to be followed in particular circumstances, like procedure for reporting progress in production, or maybe any procedure like how we have to means maybe um, someone is interested to get uh, early retirement. There could be some procedure for that how to get early retirement. So or maybe they want to opt for voluntary retirement scheme. So there could be some procedure for that. Procedures describe steps to be followed in particular circumstances, and methods provide the manner in which a task has to be performed. So, how a production activity is going on, there could be some method. There are different types of methods. With the help of those methods, a product is manufactured, and these methods are established methods. Every day, every time, they're using the same method. Rules are very clearly stated as to exactly what has to be done, like reporting for work at a particular time. So there are some rules and regulations in each and every organization. So maybe some HR rules are there, administrative rules are there, so that we have to follow those rules and regulations. Exactly, it will be mentioned that what are the things we have to do. Single use and standing plans are part of operational planning process. So this one we have already mentioned at the beginning only, that it is a part of operational planning process. Now if we talk about strategic planning, so that will be linked with uh, managerial planning. We can say it's a managerial planning, like managerial tasks and operational tasks are there, so it will come under managerial planning with strategy formulation and all. These things are not required, policy, procedure, rules in details. So that's all about planning. Now we will move towards organizing, the next function. Once we have done with planning, now the objective is set. Now, what is the thing? We have to implement it. So, we have to accomplish the objective, and for that, we will be doing organizing. So, once the plans have been laid down and the objectives are specified therein, the next step is to organize resources. So, we have to organize the resources, whatever the resources like human resource or financial resources, we have to properly utilize it so that we can achieve our objective, accomplish our objective. So, if we want to make a fruitful planning, so what we have to do, we have to consider different kinds of resources, like different kinds of resources, and we have to properly utilize all those resources, and ultimately we will be able to achieve the target or the objective. So when organizing function we will be doing, after that, as an application of it, or as a result of it, we will get organizational structure. That also we will discuss in this chapter. So we can say that our organizing can be defined as the process that initiates implementation of plans. So it will initiate the implementation of plans that we have already done. Planning we have done, plan we have decided, and now we have to implement it, and uh, we have to establish, we have to find out the what are the kinds of job positions are there. We have to get a clear idea about it, and then there will be a new there will be a relationship that we have to establish. Means we have to establish the working relationships, we can say. So if we just look at the structure, I think there will be a picture in your mind. This is a functional structure: managing director and below managing director, human resources, marketing, research and development, purchasing departments are there. And we can have these kinds of structure also. This is divisional and functional structure. So now we will understand the steps in process of organizing. First of all, we will understand one example, like 12 students work for the school library in summer vacation. So they are working in summer vacation, and their work is one afternoon they are told to unload a shipment of new releases and stock the bookshelves, and mm, then dispose of all the waste materials. So if we say to the students, if we say the students that we have to you have to complete this work, and what will happen, like they will do their work on their own way. Means every student will start doing their work on their own way. So there will be a mess. Means we will not be able to control it. So what we need to do, we have to uh, select one student, and he will supervise everything. He will group the he will make groups of students, and he will divide the work. The work will be means divided into small tasks, and that will be assigned to different groups, and there will be a proper relationship, reporting relationships, working relationships, that who will be reporting to whom. So such kind of structured thing will be there. That means nicer and better manner. So what we are doing, we have a work to do. We are understanding the work. We are dividing the work in different tasks, and now we are uh, assigning those tasks to uh, assigning the tasks to different groups, and they are doing their own job. So in this manner, we are organizing the thing. Now the steps, first of all, so what we have to do, we have to identify and divide the work. Now we have to understand what is the work as a whole. And we have to divide the work. Why we are dividing the work? If we divide the work, so the workload will be distributed. No single person will be overloaded or overburdened by the work. So first of all, we have to understand the work, and then we have to divide it. And if we can divide it, so two things would be there. Like we can avoid the overburden, means the burden. We can avoid that, and we can avoid the duplication also. Like two people will do the same job, this could be avoided because we have distributed that your work is this, your work is this. So we have distributed the work. So there will not be any duplication, and at the same time, people will not get overloaded by the work. After that, departmentalization. So once the work has been divided into small different tasks, so now what we have to do, we have to find out the similar kind of work and we have to group them. Similar kind of tasks will be grouped, and that will be the grouping process will be called as departmentalization. So if we form, Vijay, you are too late. So departmentalization we can form, means we can follow, and different types of departments we can create on the basis of different parameters, different basis. Like there could be territory wise, like north, south, west, different territories could be there, and on the basis of different types of product lines. Like if you are doing business in appliances, in clothes and cosmetics, so that we will find when we will understand the different structure, organizational structure. There we will learn about divisional structure. On the basis of different division, means we are doing business in different division. So on the basis of different divisions, we are creating, on the basis of different products, we are creating such divisions. So that is there. Assignment of duties. Now when we have divided the work, now what we have to do, we have to assign the duty. So what, for that we have to um, create the job positions, and these job positions will have certain responsibilities and duties to be performed. So what we have to do to fill those job positions, we have to uh, find out some people who are having the required skills and competencies. So we have to allocate those jobs to the members of each department who are having the same skills and requirement that is needed for that job position. So we have to create a match between these two things. Like one, we have to find out, we have to know the nature of the job, what kind of job it is, and with that we have to find out the quality, the experience, the expertise that one person is having. So that means the ability of an individual and the nature of the nature of the job should match. Then only we will be able to assign the duties perfectly. So we have to find out the best fitted person who can perform these responsibilities, fulfill those responsibilities. Establishing authority and reporting relationship. Whenever there are different job positions, so these job positions, these people who are holding that job position, they are actually supervising few people. That means some subordinates are there, and there are some people who are supervising this particular job position. That means there are some uh, higher authority. So there will be some relationship between these positions, like whom I have to report, from whom I have to take order, or whom I have to order. So these things will be clear. So we have to make job positions. At the same time, we have to establish the reporting and authority relationship. What kind of power I have in my hand means what kind of authority I have to instruct, give instruction to people. That also we have to understand. Then comes the importance of organizing. First is benefits of specialization. When a particular person is working in a department uh, for years, so that means he is performing the job in that means some kind of job that is there in that particular department. So he is not involving himself in doing some other kinds of job that is related to some other department. So he belongs to that department and he is continuously working over there. And if he is repeatedly he is doing the same performance, that means he will be specialized in that particular field and he is gaining experience in that particular field. So we are getting some specialized people. Clarity in working relationships. When we have a proper structure, we know that who will be sitting over where, means who will be holding which position. So from there we can understand the relationship among these members or among these employees. So the hierarchy will be clear, and what are the responsibilities are there uh, related to different positions, that is clear. So if that is clear, so it will not create any kind of ambiguity. Like uh, like we have learned about the uh, direction. We always prefer that the direction will come from one single person. So if we know that who is my boss, so that means the hierarchy is clear to me. So the relationship is clear to me. So I will expect some instruction or order from that particular person. So it is clear. Now everything is clear. Means I have to report to whom. If that is clear, so it will be easy for the employee who will be working in that position. Otherwise, that person will get confused. Optimum utilization of resources. Whatever the resources that we have, if we uh, follow this organizing process, so we will be able to avoid overlapping of work or duplication of work. always we have to use our materials properly. Why? Because we always have some scarcity of resources that we have to keep in mind. Whatever it may be, like financial resource or human resource, we have to properly utilize our resources. Suppose in a laboratory, like all the products are means all the products are having some research and development division, and they are having some quality checking, quality control departments are there. So they are doing some test. If two person will do the same test, so unnecessarily they are doing the same task. That means there is a duplication of work. If duplication is there, so whatever the chemicals that we are using, the machineries that we are using, the time we are spending, energy we are spending, so that will be wasted. So unnecessarily we are wasting all these things. So to control that, if we have a proper structure, if our organization is properly, if our enterprise is organized, so we will be able to prevent such things. Then comes adaptation to change. The process of organizing allows a business enterprise to accommodate changes in the business environment. All the time, there are some changes in the environment. There could be some economic changes or social changes. Different kinds of changes could be there, or environmental changes. So these changes are there. Now, if your organization, if your business is organized, so when the change will come, you will be able to cope up with the changes. So according to the need of that change, you will be able to modify yourself. But from the beginning, if you are unorganized and suddenly a change has come, so ultimately you will be in not a good position. It will be really unmanageable to control or to accommodate according to the change. So if you want to adapt with the changes, adapt the changes smoothly, so for that, what we have to do, we have to follow this process. We have to organize our business. Then comes effective administration. Organizing provides a clear description of jobs and related duties. So this helps to avoid confusion and duplication. So when you have such kind of structure, a better work means we will be able to establish a working relationship. Like when if you look at the family tree, so there we find that some generations are there, different generations, and different people are there. Now, from the generation and from this particular tree, we can understand that what kind is there with the between the first and the second generation, between the second and third generation, or maybe who is the parents of whom, who is the father of whom, who is the son-in-law, who is the daughter-in-law. All these relationships become clear. So here also we will be able to understand the working relationship. Just who is having a relationship, what kind of relationship or responsibilities with some other levels, because there we have generations, here we have levels of management. So a clarity in working relationships enables proper execution of work. So if that is there, the communication process will be easy, the decision making process will be easy, and the management or the managers, top level people, will be able to monitor it more quickly. Development of personnel. Organizing stimulates creativity among managers. Effective delegation allows the managers to reduce their workload. Like uh, if you have an organized structure, so a manager will be able to delegate his work, whatever the routine works are there, that should not be done by the managers. So he can easily uh, delegate those work to the subordinates. Now he knows what is his authority. Now he knows who is there as his subordinate. So he can uh, allocate or he can delegate his these kinds of routine work to the subordinates. And in this way, the reduction of workload can be done. Like if the manager will get involved in doing some routine work, so what will happen? He will not get time to invest, to think about some new plans, new procedures, new business ideas. He will not be able to enter into those thoughts. So he will not get time enough. So if we can delegate our work, so ultimately we will get some time. And it will be good for the subordinates also, because they are getting some extra responsibility, and that will motivate them. That will motivate them, because they will feel that they are also important for the organization. So it gives them the time to explore areas for growth and opportunity to innovate, thereby strengthening the company's competitive position. So it will add value. It will contribute towards the uh, future of the growth of the organization. So if the managers can invest time in uh, modifying the procedures or establish some new plans, or maybe developing some new business ideas, so that will add value to the growth of the organization. So delegation also develops in the subordinate the ability to deal effectively with challenges and helps them to realize their full potential. Because here the subordinates will be able to understand that they are some important person, and they will have some challenges that they have to accomplish this job. These kinds of challenges they will face, and they will feel motivated. Expansion and growth. Organizing helps in growth and diversification of an enterprise by enabling it to deviate from existing norms and taking up new challenges. So if you are organized, so it will be easy for you to enter into some new business, or you can diversify your or you can grow, means easily, because now you are organized. And if you are unorganized, so you will have a fear that how will I expand, how will I grow, because your base is not uh, a structured base. So if you want to just go beyond that, so it will be difficult. If it will be difficult for you, it allows a business enterprise to add more job positions, departments, and even diversify their product lines. So, as because you are organized, now you can find out what are the job positions will be created in the future, what are the kinds of departments are needed, as because we have a clear picture of the organization. New geographical territories can be added to current areas of operation, and this will help to increase customer base, sales, profit, all these things. Thus, organizing is a process by which managers bring order out of chaos, removes conflict among people, overwork or responsibility sharing, and creates an environment suitable for teamwork. So, if you are organized, that means you will be able to handle many things. That means you will be able to establish a good working relationship. So, the the responsibility sharing will be there, like people will not get overloaded by work pressure, or ultimately they will work as a team, and um, a proper environment could be established. So that's all about organizing. In our next session we will learn about organization structure. Different structures are there, like functional and divisional structure, and formal informal uh, organization is also there. So these things we will learn in the next session. So that's all for the day. All of you, please give your attendance in the chat box.